the secret files of Teletraan 2.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Moonbase 2. I temporarily forgot the name of the show from the Files of Teletraan 2 comic show. Hey!
Yay!
I honestly had forgotten. I was just like, oh no. Is this woo-woo? No, this is something else. Where am I?
One of many
Why are there
names.
Squirrels everywhere.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're in the trees, Andy.
That's true. Frightfully true.
How are you, young Andrew?
I'm fine. Not too bad. Can't complain, sir. What about yourself?
I could deal with caffeine, which I've given up.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, and I'd like something salty, which I've also given up.
Oh, if you want something salty, just go onto the internet.
Oh, lick to Twitter. Ah,
Yeah.
it's like what they give horses to keep them happy. And yes, you can sample that, people. That's nice. Yeah. Erotic. But yes, we're not here to talk about my sexual lip smacking. We're here to talk about comic books, and I've actually realized that in terms of comics, we're coming to the end of the first full year storytelling run.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Now, obviously, this hasn't been going a full year, but we're up to issue 10 for this episode. I believe after this, it might not be next month, but the month after, it's switching to one issue a month.
Oh god.
And Transformers Galaxies is going to start coming out, which is the sort of the new version of Spotlight, for want of a better term. So this is going to be maybe the last show we get the double. Well, you get the double down, kids. So we are of course doing Transformers issue 9 and 10 for the extended Patreon only show. We're not doing Ghostbusters because it's a bit of a Star Trek syndrome, in that not enough happens really for me to discuss. So I'm going to hold out a month or two, really, until the whole book is out and do it like that. So probably next month, it's going to be Robo. I think, yeah, it's Robo's turn, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, which it's a good story as well coming up.
Oh. All right.
Yes. But yes, we're not here to talk that. We're here to talk Transformers, and we are talking issue 9, The Cracks Beneath Your Feet, part 3. Written by Brian Ruckley, art by Angel Hernandez and Anna Malkova. Colors by Joanna Lafuente, letters by the now absent, now leftist, now still has to do that Doctor Who show I promised him years ago, Tom B. Long. Tom B. Gone. Hang
on, you promised to do a Doctor Who show?
He wanted to do. I said we were doing woo woos, and he said I want to talk Doctor Who, and I said I don't want to. You're very unattractive to me.
Oh damn!
And then he started doing a comic strip, and we didn't even get a cameo, but no, Charles gets one.
Well, yeah.
Charles gets a lot of things.
No jealousy from Mikey.
Nah, Doctor. You know what that is? Overcompensating.
Damn.
One doctor is enough for anyone.
It's true.
I'm just saying. And he's got a short face.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but by the way, there's a comic book involved in this, and it's edited by David Mariotti and Tom Waltz. So getting straight into it, Sideswipe, Chromia, and Windblade are approaching the Icon Memorial Center to investigate the rise. Chromia is talking to GMO, just asking him his opinion of the whole thing. And he's saying that due to the pattern of microfissures, these guys have been busy and excavating on a large scale. The other two prepare their weapons, and Chromia realizes Barricade hasn't shown up. But Windblade interrupts to point out that they found a secret hatch. They're thinking about calling Prowl in for help, but Chromia is like, he's busy, and we're not risking anyone else. They go in, and yeah, elsewhere, a black market dealer named Headlock, who is a character from the RID cartoon, is wandering Icon. He meets Prowl. Prowl is less than legal in his actions. He basically overpowers Headlock and tells him, I need information on the Voin that was murdered that you knew, and you can try and get out of it, or I can, hand you over to the cops and also beat anything I want out of you. And then Headlock sort of says he he did talk to the cops already. He gave all the information to the last cop he met. And that cop was Barricade, who has gone missing. Back with Chromia, they are met with a group of drones. Or they probe their doorway with some drones. Nothing there. So, basically the whole thing is guarded against intruders and everything else. So they're basically going to have to go in, and Sideswipe is left to stand guard outside. The ladies go in unaware that Six-Shot, Flame War, and Shadow Striker are watching them. The interesting moment where Shadow Striker wants to fight. Six-Shot's kind of like, hey, we need to clean up and get out. Flame War has to go guard, and then Shadow Striker threatens Six-Shot, saying I'll murder you if you ever backtalk me again. Which it's interesting to see Six-Shot on the receiving end of that. That caught me off guard a bit. So anyway, the security bots are making their way through the bunker, and they're finding disturbing signs of scope and scale of the rise. They find weapons bays, repair bays. They find everything has also been kind of cleaned out because there's going to be a raid. Chromia thinks they've been too late. If they'd been there earlier, they'd have probably found Brainstorm and Rubble's murderers. But they do discover the power source, which is a microwave-beamed energon connected to a series of energon stations. It appears empty, but Chromia has a breakthrough that the Rise members who set up the station never bothered to disable the monitoring hardware, meaning she can extract data on everyone who's ever refueled there. But before she begins, Windblade abruptly gets the signal from Sideswipe and races off. Chromia is on her own, except for Six-Shot, who's caught up with them. Back in Iacon, the Ascenticon Guard are doing well for themselves. Bumblebee is hanging out with Elita 1, assessing new recruits, and they sort of realize that one of these new recruits is Barricade, who's all, catches everyone off guard. Ultimately, Bumblebee's a bit put off by all of this, and especially when Barricade basically started bragging, Bumblebee has to prove himself, Barricade can just, wander in and be awesome. Windblade and Sideswipe regroup at the top of the crater. Sideswipe spots Flame War. He goes to shoot her, but Flame War blasts back and knocks him right off his feet. Chromia is trying to stay ahead of Six-Shot as they sort of trade a firefight, but she's ultimately thrown out by an explosion. Windblade comes in, saves her, stabbing Six-Shot through the chest. Six-Shot's alive, but he's okay. He makes a run for it. And Shadow Striker decides the way to deal with this is to blow up the base. Chromia orders Windblade to get in there, get as much data as possible, and get the hell out. It's all this is all rather chaotic. Sideswipe and Flame War at each other still. The Flame War ultimately takes a retreat, and as the base explodes, Windblade is caught in the blast and is hurled to the ground, all smushed. And that was the issue. First of all, am I the only one who thinks that this thing has some pacing issues?
I was going to say that in terms of story, we have slowed down tremendously once again. We have an action scene of sorts, so there is a bit of action, so there is that to it at least. But in terms of story progression, I don't feel we've moved, at least with this issue, any further forward.
It feels like it's been the big reveal here is Barricade, right?
And Six-Shot, I suppose.
Because
he's leading these two, and they're in the base, so maybe.
But Barricade, it feels like the story's making a very big deal about Barricade joining the Ascenticons.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but as I was reading this, I was like, Barricades joined the potential bad guys? No,
not Barricade. He was the best of us.
Yeah, honestly, that's how I felt while reading it today. It felt, I mean, maybe for someone who isn't into Transformers, they would be like, oh man, I don't know who this Barricade dude is, but they're making a big deal about it. But I think really, they're mostly Transformer fans are reading Transformer comics. I don't think there is a huge, I might be wrong, I imagine there's not a huge market for, people outside of the fandom to be this many issues deep into a Transformers comic.
I don't know. Like, I know, not to start comparing, but I know in Phase 2 of the old IDW, you could assume that. You could assume that non-Transformers readers were reading. I don't know how this book is going down with the wider public, so I can't comment on that. But I'd say at the moment it's probably got a more limited readership.
Mm.
It was just like the way the story's acting. It's like, hey, it's barricade, 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 and I don't know why. Like, we've seen Barricade for 2 panels. He's not a particularly well-established character, and here he just kind of seems overly smug about the fact that they let him in.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's like, oh, well, Bumblebee, you were part of the Guard, and they don't trust you, but it's Bumblebee, and he's probably, like, one of Ryan Pax's oldest friends, so probably a little bit of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And Barricade's just, like, some schmup. But I don't know. It's weird that I find it as off-putting as it is.
Can you put a finger onto why you find it so off-putting?
I don't know. I think because, like, this should be a big issue, because it's them finding the Rise base, and they should be gaining information, getting some knowledge out of it beyond the fact that the Rise are rising up. We already knew that. Barricade, like, if Barricade is going to be revealed as a traitor, then that should be a big deal. This should be a Barricade-focused issue. We should have seen him talking to Headlock. We should have seen him not telling Prowl. And we should have seen... I'd previously seen evidence that he was sympathetic to the Decepticons. Or built him up to someone like, I could see him doing that. Like, as a character in the book, I think he's been a minor background event.
Oh, yeah. He's not been any kind of big deal. I would say, at least.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that Angel's art continues to unimpress. If I'm completely honest. Anna's stuff, I've got to say, I think she did a great job. There's a couple...
Is she the one that did the Prowl bit?
Yeah, and the Barricade bit. Like, there's a couple of bits that I will say it's not to my taste. Like, Barricade, her take on Barricade's face makes him look too much like just a normal dude. But the scenes with Prowl and Headlock, I think they're very nice, and I think Joanna's colors complement them quite nicely. Or quite well, to use proper grammar. But then the big action scenes are being done by Angel, and there's very little weight and sense of motion to them. Considering, like, they've got a fight with Six-Shot involved, and no, I'm usually not one to push the whole transforming thing, but why is Six-Shot just sort of walking in this? It's Six-Shot. Like, I've never seen Six-Shot in a comic where he hasn't done something like, here's a wolf that's suddenly a car or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels like this is a named character that the author was familiar with or was asked to include or whatever, and maybe he didn't quite get the appeal of him.
Okay.
Plus, like, Six-Shot is largely just a large dude in this. It's not like, oh my god, it's a Six-Changer. It's a big guy.
Yeah, he's not a Six-Changer. He doesn't seem to be even a ninja consultant, kind of going down that route either, so...
Ultimate fail.
Not that he has to be... Not that I'm saying he has to be a ninja consultant, but like you say, it is Six-Shot, and in every bit of fiction, he is given some kind of weight to him. And he doesn't seem to have much oomph here.
Anyway, Andy, was there anything particularly positive you can say about this comic? Or... Because I feel like we're being down on it, but I'm not necessarily... Like, it's not really doing anything technically wrong.
No, it's just... There's nothing going on to sink my teeth into, mentally, of course. The action wasn't anything special. It was just kind of... Oh, yeah, okay, Six-Shot got stabbed through, I guess, the heart, but obviously as a Transformer that doesn't matter. Windblade seemed to get exploded, and she seems fairly fine for the most part for taking a giant explosion to the face. Like, there's not much damage to her, really. I don't think there's a huge amount here. And because the comic is on, like, issue 9 here? 10?
Yeah. 9.
9, okay. Again, this still feels like an early issue, like where it's establishing something, because not much is happening, and nothing's again drawing me in too hard.
There's a very the story is going for a long, slow burn.
We've
I
said
think
that like every time we've talked about this comic, unfortunately.
But what I want to say, especially like if it was a monthly comic, or if it had been a monthly comic, like at this stage, it would have been the death of this series.
Yeah,
like we know at least it's going up until the Decepticons arise.
That's why I am concerned about it becoming a monthly series, because I'm not sure how it's gonna survive. Because if we're saying it's slow and it's getting 2 a month, how's it gonna do when it's getting 1 a month?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I want to, because like this also doesn't have the character work I liked before. Like very little. The characters have very little going on here. It's an event issue, but like if we look back to the previous stuff with Cyclonus, say, I thought anything involving him was pretty solid. I think the character work for Bumblebee was pretty good going forward again. Orion, I was getting more into. And here it's kind of the least developed of the main characters.
Yeah.
On all sides of the table. And I'm including Prowl in that because this Prowl, we know very little about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of that is the fact that so much time was given to Rubble in the first 6.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And like, we got
Prowl just seems to be generic kind of tough cop, doesn't he?
Yeah,
doing generic kind of roughing up kind of stuff, like
cop.
Stuff that we've seen so many times before. It's not like it's a new thing or anything really. That he's not super different from previous Prowl at this point.
He's very early IDW.
Yeah,
and the thing is, like, I don't feel the need to compare this much to the old IDW because it's a different animal. Like, it's not trying to be the same beast, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel the need to compare the characters, but you do need to do something different with him. And right now he's basically just, I'm a generic good cop, but I'm the bad good cop.
Yeah.
And like I wish he'd gotten. I think the way the story breakdown as well, doesn't help things in this issue.
No.
I kind of feel like they should have. Like, it should have led from Prowl realizing what's going on with Headlock to what's going on with Barrack, and then we cut the barricade joining the Decepticons. Like, jumping back to Chromia and Windblade constantly, it broke up their story, which really needed to have a bit more of an ongoing pace. And then it broke up the other story, which just had a logical flaw, and then neither story really got going for me.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
I also think Giamota should have been in more of this, because that's the character, again, we haven't explored much, but at least we've got an archetype, you know? For like they give like the overflow of who he is. Now I want to see some building of the characters more who aren't named Bumblebee, Megatron, or Orion, you know?
They're the ones that sell the comics, Mikey. They're the only ones that matter.
Yeah, I'm not going to compare it to other books that used other characters, but maybe you could do something.
No.
Yeah. Any other comments on the art or the story or anything like that?
Just the fact that I did enjoy the like I say the other artist a bit more, because again there are shots in here where I'm for the main RC not RC Sideswipe and Chromia stuff, which is just again like it, as I've said before, I don't want to reiterate myself, so I'm not gonna. But it's there was one specific panel where I was like, oh no, near the start where it shows Chromia's back kibble. It's like the second page, the second panel, actually the first panel as well on the second page, and it's just all of the car mode on her back.
Yeah, because that's what the toy is like.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh Jesus,
because it's a toy.
It's funny, but it's also like, oh no, that's not what I would. If I was an artist and could draw, it's not something I would go for myself because it looks awful. And at least with this kind of medium, you don't have the excuse of, oh well, we can't physically get rid of it.
But Andy, it's a toy.
I mean, you got me there. It is, in fact, a toy, no doubt. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. Another one. I remember reading again that Megatron Optimus Prime issue and being like, oh, okay, there's something here. And now we've kind of, I feel we've backtracked very quickly from that to, okay.
Okay, you see,
back to the slow.
Yeah. I actually don't have anything to add. It's not an easy issue to get into.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I'd forgotten most of it until I reread it for this.
Yeah.
Which
there's
is
not much memorable, to be honest.
yeah, it's just kind of rare for me to be able to say like it left that little of an impression.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. In that case, I'd say, what's your rating for this issue?
Well, since it left very little in my mouth as a fruity flavor, I'd give it a 2. Oh, sorry. This is out of 10s, isn't it?
Yes, and it's just like I was gonna say. That's wow. That's Heart of Darkness.
No, I'll give it a 5. Half marks. Where it's just like it exists, but it's so bland that I feel like you. I'm sure probably tomorrow I won't remember anything about this.
Yeah. I was going with a 5 as well. I think it's very
not 2.
Very, very average.
Yeah.
And I don't. This book has been better than average, but I really needed to start hitting something above.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the problem is I've said this before. I can see everything I like about this writer's style. Like I think Brian does some cool stuff with character. I think he does some good stuff with world building, but it does feel like he's having trouble translating from the I have 3 paragraphs to set up a world and 500 pages after, and translating into I've got 20 to 22 pages to tell a story that's got to feel coherent but still part of an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So, and that's not easy to do,
Oh, definitely not. It's 2 very different writing styles.
But anyway, we'll leave issue 9 like that, and we'll move on to issue 10, which is part 4. The creative team is largely the same, except Josh Bertram joins Joanna LaFuente on colors, and Bette McGuire-Smith is helping out on art. The book opens outside Decepticon headquarters with Alita and Bumblebee joining Megatron. It's kind of awkward between Megs and B, and probably not helped by the fact that there's a silent protest in honor of Brainstorm and Rubble, and Bumblebee would like to be anywhere else but where he is. So Megatron is doing the sort of like, I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm so invested in your feelings.
Yeah.
You're my friend, Bumblebee. I totally changed sides for you. And anyway, they head out and head to the doors of the Senate. Megatron orders his bodyguards to stay outside. Alita watches the march, and Bumblebee and her sort of chat, and they find out there's many marches going on across Cybertron, and Bumblebee is worried that some people will be blaming the Decepticons for the unrest, and Alita's like, no, the Decepticons are a peaceful movement and extremists and blah blah blah, and then Bumblebee sort of says like, and if they're not? And she's like, I mean, shut up.
I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. Elsewhere, Freud is running through a medical facility, passing Windblade, who's unconscious, and Flatline, yay, Flatline, who is tending Sideswipe, who's saying he totally could have had that flame war. And he's going to his patient, at least who he'd like to be his patient, which is Cyclonus, who is recovering from his own injuries. Cyclonus doesn't like Freud. No one, it seems. And Freud seems to be trying to, like, reach out to him a bit, and he's like, you still talking with all your dead friends, buddy? But I noticed you're not talking to Paragon, who was your kind of special friend. And then Cyclonus goes, he was murdered. And, he didn't just die. He was murdered by Pyramagna. There's a name I wasn't expecting.
That was a weird drop, wasn't it?
Yeah. So she killed a guy.
Okay.
Nice to know she's sticking to form.
Happy
and
girl.
Cyclonus storms out. In the Senate, Orion and the reversionist leader, Heretic, again, a name I was not expecting to see in this.
What, reversionist or heretic? Heretic?
Both, really, but Heretic returning in another continuity was bizarre to me.
Who is he?
He was a Phase Sixer. Or technically, he was a warrior elite. He never made it to the Phase Sixers, but
in the previous IDW stuff.
Yeah, he very briefly appeared as he was treated with an Untrium, but eventually he got captured by the DJD.
How the hell do you remember this, Mikey?
Because his name is Heretic. That's a fucking terrible name. And he's basically like, what if Overlord was incompetent?
Okay.
So that sticks with me. Also, I am a nerd.
This is true. You got me there.
I am their king. Their king. So, yeah. Megatron's like, you're all talking harmony, and I'm just like, we're under the Omnicid Edict, we can't reproduce, we can't collect, blah, 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 I want to invade someone, this is what it all says to me. And he says, like, the Decenticons are being attacked by politically motivated violence, and Orion's like, Rubble and Brainstorm are dead, Windblade's injured, and you're just yelling more and making people more and more and more angry. Another senator named Crisscross, he's new as far as I know, said that if Megatron cared about the future, he'd come out in the United Front and say that there is no need for violence, we should all work together against the rise. Megatron says he loves Cybertron, and you should all shut up. Orion agrees, but he says, like, Autobots are in control until the next election, Sentinel Prime still holds first senator position, and the Omnibus Edict is not going to be overturned, so why don't you just help us?
Nah.
All you need to do is suspend the rallies and disband the guard, and then when Sentinel returns, all of us can work together, get rid of the rise, and give the followers a new name, more accurate moniker that properly brands them as deceptive, carnivorous, con men, liar people. And before he can name it, Megatron just like walks out in a huff, and I'm just like, don't you do that? Don't you think you're being clever when you do that? We know what you do. You know what you do. And as Megatron leaves, he says, like, this is a bad idea, and that's as dangerous as an improperly handled weapon. Outside, Megatron meets a couple of his subordinates again, and things get really bad because the protest march includes a lot of people outside the Senate building who see Megatron as part of the problem. He starts yelling at them. Bumblebee tries to calm people down. Alita is doing crowd control, and it all gets a bit out of hand.
A tad.
Yeah, so Bumblebee and Alita get in the middle of a fight. And obviously, a crowd of protesters is not really very good at handling actual trained fighters. And probably good Megatron didn't get weighed in when you think about it. But Bumblebee and ask Alita, like, did this feel right to you? And she's finding it hard to admit it is. That night, Megatron has snuck out into Badlands for totally reasonable and legitimate purposes.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. And he goes to a place protected by a shimmer field that dissolves into Shockwave. Everything is Shockwave's fault. Who it turns out is the leader of the Rise, who it turns out are a subunit of the Decenticons that Megatron is using for his more extreme ends. And it also turns out that the entire 9 issues beforehand, bar I think the attack on him at the rally, were not actually something he wanted to happen.
That's weird.
Yeah, it turns out that basically Shockwave decided to sort of act on his own, and may have been kind of tied into a couple of murders. Maybe he sent Quake, and maybe Rubble's dead because of him, but it's fine. And Megatron's kind of outraged, because he's saying, like, you were there to inflame, incense, but outright murder was not part of my deal with you, because he's helped Shockwave sort of make his way back onto Cybertron since he was banished in the Omnibus Edict. Basically, he tells Shockwave, get underground, keep your heads down, don't make my life harder than for me. And as Megatron leaves, Shockwave just like, oh, you don't know who you're talking to. Like, it never goes well when you tell Shockwave to keep his head down.
Or not do something.
Yeah, he's already started doing it in front of you and just looking at you and going like, wow, I'm not doing anything. Wow, he had 2 heads when I got here.
He is the cat pushing the glass off the table.
Shockwave cat is watching you.
No. Aww.
It is logical. Bang! Back in Iacon, Prowl and the security operations find themselves at an impasse outside the Decenticon headquarters. Soundwave won't let, like, Prowl says, I want to see Barricade, I want to ask him questions, and Soundwave just sort of goes, nah.
Yeah.
Nah. But I want to go in. Nah.
Yeah, because didn't he say, he says something akin to, I don't have a warrant or anything, I just want to have a chat with him.
Yeah, so Soundwave like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
You're good.
I don't have to do it.
Yeah. And then things get better. Because a Titan lands, and as Ironhide welcomes him back, the ruling council of Cybertron arrives, which is Sentinel, Starscream, Nautica, Road Rage is there.
Hang on, I didn't think they were. I know Sentinel Prime's the ruler, but
I think
his just buddies, not the actual council themselves.
Oh, you might be right.
Because I thought that Prime and the silly named dude in Megatron were the council, and he was just like the president, I guess you could call it like that.
Maybe these are like Sentinel and his team.
Yeah, besties.
Yeah. But also, like, Sentinel looks so damn like the old Sentinel, it's freaking me out a bit.
I'm fine with that. I like that design. I love how orange he is.
Yeah, I love that design, but I'm just like, I want you to say something really, really, really inappropriate.
And really, like, 90s malevolent.
Yeah, you need to start talking that way. Please, because otherwise you're just basically wearing my friend's face. And yeah, Nautica in the bookends. Because one of the things I saw when I was looking this up is everyone goes like, Nautica! And I was just like, she's in one panel.
Yeah.
Love Nautica, but Nautica has done nothing. And that's the issue. I would say it is a notable step up from the last one.
It is, yes.
What's your sort of initial thinking?
Again, the plot started to move a little bit faster forward. It picked up from the last issue. There was still a lot of like the Optimus Prime stuff in the council chamber was kind of a I'm looking at my watch kind of deal. Like this is more like people complaining and going, oh, come on.
To me, it felt almost like I'm looking at the camera moments. Just like, we know they're going to be Decepticons, but do you at home know?
Yeah, I think that's, again, why I'm, like, mentioned it's a Time Watcher. Because, like you say, I mentioned this about Barricade as well in the previous issue. Barricade's gonna be a bad guy? We're setting up for these guys to be bad guys? It's like, we know. I know this is a new continuity, but it's not like they're gonna do the whole switcheroo and the Autobots and it's the Shattered Glass universe, because that would be a good twist. You know, where they don't even talk about it being Shattered Glass and it's just, oh, this is actually Shattered Glass, and you go, oh, okay, but they were setting the Decepticons up. That was a good twist. But no, it's just, hey, the Decepticons sit in for the long haul because it's going to take a while to get there. And like you, I was a little, well, I don't know if you were like this, but it being Shockwave was kind of
It's always Shockwave.
Yeah, we're going back to Shockwave again. Okay, dokie. I mean he's a good choice, but
it makes sense to use Shockwave, and again, he's a toy now, so he's probably prominent because of that.
More than likely.
But it's also like, didn't we... I mean, I love Shockwave. He's a great character in anything, really. But one, we don't know what the Shockwave is like. And two, it is kind of like, but we just did this. Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago where the Shockwave literally did everything pretty much in the previous continuity. Yeah, everything was Shockwave.
And now it's just like, oh, Shockwave, take a day off, please. Yeah. Bring out Shock Blast. If it had turned out to be Shock Blast or something like that.
Sure. I mean, that would have been different.
And it was just like, I was expecting your brother. He couldn't make it, so I'm eating this guy while I wait.
I'm trying to think who else you could have done.
I think you could have done an original character, but I like the thing is, it's supposed to have a like, oh, it's that guy moment.
Yeah.
You'd need like Shockwave.
Maybe what if you'd done Grimlock?
That would have been interesting. Like,
but then... Grimlock's quite a violent character. He was sent off world, and he comes back, and he's kicking shit off again. But then maybe he kicks stuff off too hard. Yeah, and goes against what Megatron kind of turns the movement into.
Yeah, like he's the one who like. Why would Shockwave recruit Quake?
Yeah,
like with Grimlock, it's just like I needed muscle.
Yeah, like he's a big dude. I'm a bigger dude. He does what I tell him to do.
Yeah, and then it's just like you didn't tell him to do that, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you have the Paul, and then that of course builds up into the point that you have to do something with Grimlock to eventually make him go like, maybe I overdid it.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing again, kind of going all the way back to Dreamwave, where him and Megatron did work together, or were gonna.
And there's a personal thing between them as well.
Yeah, I think that would have been a better reveal than going, oh, it's Shockwave, because then you would have gone, oh, it's Grimlock, he's working with Megatron, what's going on here? That's a bit different. I mean,
except like
not super different, because like I mentioned, it happened in Dreamwave, but you know.
Yeah, and as long as it didn't go, Grimlock, and as he's walking away, sometimes I worry he's too much on the side of the angels. And it's like, and then Megatron rotates across and goes like, will he turn into an Autobot? Oh.
I want to go back to you saying, is he on the side of angels? What kind
I
of
don't know.
horseshit woo-woo was that?
Wow, Grimlock are great.
That's some crappy-ass comic writing right there, Mikey. Holy shit.
Technically,
Side
that's
of
crappy
angels.
ass TV writing because I lifted that from Sherlock.
Oh, is that? Oh, no. I was actually thinking it was like a 90s Spawn issue or something.
No, that was Sherlock. That was the scene with the worst Moriarty ever made. Going like, you're on the side of the angels, I'm Irish. Oh, George, you're on the side of the angels, Sherlock. I'm so wacky and crazy. Aren't I entertaining? No.
Oh,
not.
Moriarty, you silly
Waste
little
of
leprechaun.
fucking time. I hate that character so much. You have no idea. As much as I was like, oh, Shockwave again, I am also like, I like the idea that Megatron is a lot less in control than he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Because I really like the core concept of that scene, which is that Megatron has kind of feels like he's kind of become the man, the hype man who believes his own hype.
Yeah.
And this is a reminder for the reader that just because Megatron sees himself as a messianic figure doesn't mean he necessarily has everyone under his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to build more to him being out of control in that way, and not out of control like crazy, just like he is out of control, like he is not in control of the surroundings, even if he thinks he is.
Yeah, the snowball's rolling down the mountain and he can't stop it.
Like he'll probably at the end of the mountain he'll go like, it was my idea all along to end up here. There's so many dead people. I also did enjoy the bit where Soundwave just like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's a weird scene. I mean, it's clearly building up to, the next issue, but it's such a, it's literally just, what is it, 1-2 pages? No, it's 1 page. It's 1 page. Can I see Barricade? No. What? And that's it.
I hadn't really prepared for that answer.
Yeah.
Touché.
This is why you have a warrant.
You don't show up for just saying, can I have a chat? Because I'll say no.
Do you think Prowl's going to start kicking off and like beating the shit out of Soundwave?
I mean, I kind of want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I also just I kind of want Prowl to try that and then realize that he can't actually win it again in a fight against anyone.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Like I'd kind of like it because every time we have a Transformer who the main character is always they're all kind of badasses.
Yeah.
Like make Prowl kind of a wuss and make his brain a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
even I'm not saying turn him into morally grey Prowl. He can still you could have him the most upright fella, but he's like I do what I do with my mind. I leave other people to do the punching.
Yeah.
And I think you could do something interesting with that. I like Cyclonus' bit, but I've actually quite liked this take on Cyclonus.
I still don't feel there's been enough Cyclonus for me to feel one way or another. He still feels kind of like the previous IDW Cyclonus because he's still quite aloof and not very friendly towards people.
But he doesn't have a sinister vibe to him or anything, so you're not like, oh, is he going to turn bad?
Yeah, he just can see ghosts now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm liking how he's written. I'm liking that idea, but like you said, I want an issue to him.
Mm-hmm. Just to flush him out, to make him his own bot, kind of thing. Yeah, I can see that.
I'd like a bit of that. I also want to see more. We have Freud around a lot, and I want to see what his deal is.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to be again a corrupt psychologist, a therapist of some sort.
Yeah, unless it's like, well, we wanted to do the...
Or is he just incompetent?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be like, well, we wanted to do the idea of a psychologist again, but like I was told I couldn't use wrong, so here's Freud.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be a bit sad, but...
Use Bulkhead from Animated.
Oh,
as
yeah.
a bad therapist.
Yeah, he was great. He had a chair, and he made a chair for himself out of his back.
He did, yeah. Like, he'd be very well-meaning, but not very good at his job.
Oh, no, you know what you need? Troy.
Troy.
Yeah.
Deanna Troy.
Telling Cyclonus. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, how should I deal with the fact I seem to be imagining my dead friends? I think I'm having conversations with them. Have you tried killing something? What? Well, I had homicidal rage. Have you thought of indulging that and seeing where it takes you?
I like it.
Cyclonus just staring at her. You're not very good at this, are you?
No, I'm not.
I'm a lieutenant.
I have a feeling you're dissatisfied with my conduct. Yes, I literally just told you I'm not happy with it. Is that how you really feel?
Are you actually empathic?
No. I'm very drunk.
Oh dear. How did you get on the ship? I'm sleeping with Riker.
Hey.
We all knew it was happening. Let's call a spade a spade.
Well, yeah, they were a couple. I mean, in the show, but not in real life.
Yeah. Probably hated each other in real life. Probably stabbed each other.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Frake's just waking up in the night and she's holding over him. Like, probably when they were doing gargoyles, but just like, one day, they'll never see it coming because it's a cartoon. Woo! That's rather round. What did you think of the art in this one?
Again, the art would kind of fall under my usual complaints, but the Megatron to last page, I thought was good. I liked it. Was it just 2 artists, or did we have 3? Do you know?
3. That was the new artist. That was what was her name? Bette McGuire Smith.
Yeah, that was good. I did have a problem with whoever did the page with Freud, because Freud has some really wonky proportions on him. As like in my mind and how I've seen him drawn before, he's very lithe and lanky, and he's not really what I'd call lanky. His proportions are a bit too.
He's a bit Invader Zimmy at times.
Yeah, like that last panel where you see Cyclonus walking away, like his arms look a lot thicker than they should be, and his shoulders are massive. There's just a few hiccups here and there. But from Megatron seeing Shockwave, I was all on board. I was like, oh yeah, this is a lot more what I prefer. I thought Shockwave turned out really nicely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have one problem.
Oh?
And it's the problem you and I have had for a while.
Okay.
The toy thing is not helping.
No. That's always going to be a thing, though.
Yes, because one, Megatron's arms are full of holes, and that's really distracting, and he's got a tank for a kibble. But it's mostly the fact his alt mode is a toy. A poorly disguised robot with feet and hands.
I love the fact it's his tank mode, but because he doesn't have his fusion cannon or sword, it doesn't have the turret.
No, so he's
a square.
A square with feet.
Sort. Yeah.
And I know it's not her fault, because I know this is something they're being told to do.
Yeah.
But my God.
Looks real bad.
The toy thing needs to go away, please, now. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, forever. It's had its day. Leave.
Oh, I will point out again the whole people with Prowl weren't very interesting because they were just generic robots. And they didn't have any kind of design to them that made them go, oh yeah, they transform into a thing. Like you look at Flywheels, you look at Soundwave, and you look at Acid Storm, you look at Prowl, then you see these 4 and you're like, who the fuck are these guys?
I felt like that about the protesters in the march.
Oh, that was 1,000% the protesters. Like it's bad. I shouldn't be doing this, but I thought if Alex Milne had done that, I'd be like, that would be a sea of motherfuckers you knew or didn't remember, but were things. I guarantee that.
Or like, do you remember Andrew in one of the early issues of like RID? He did a big crowd scene. And it was just like, look at all these guys who you think are going to be actual guys.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't have that. This has, we need filler space.
Yeah.
I think there's one who might be Trailbreaker.
Really?
Kinda. Where? It's the one that we're up, like, the second panel down where I think Prowl is groping his crotch.
Okay.
Like, you'll know it when you see it.
Oh, okay.
See what he's doing?
Yeah.
And the way the fingers are bent.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable now that I'm pointing it out, isn't it?
It's not the best, no.
No. And that's what Soundwave was like, all right, you can come in, but like he's staring for a second. No. You're a creep.
I don't feel comfortable with this.
No.
Mm-mm.
Just let me in, Soundwave. No. But yeah. What would you rate this issue?
A bit more happened. The art was a bit more pleasing for the most part, so I'd give it a 6.
Yeah, I think a 6 is fine for this. There's bits I like, but they could have done more with it.
It was faster than the last issue. It had more going on.
Yep. The art, like the artist should have been able to do a bit more with those background characters, and I say that to all of them. But Bette McGuire Smith, I'm liking her stuff. I'm liking her overall approach to things. I would like her to be able to design a alt mode.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus Christ, when he's driving away in that scene,
Oof.
and it's just like, I've lain down and I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even convincing like the toy is convincing.
Yeah.
Like, how is that possible? How is the toy more convincing?
Probably because, to be honest, the toy has a turret.
Yeah, but even then, I'm just looking at the body as well. Like, just the layout of the body and everything else, it just looks like he's hunched up and lying down.
Well, that's the toy, I suppose.
You know, but I think the toy's better at it.
Maybe it's because
I also
it's a comic. It highlights it a lot more.
I also think it's really weird that he's like, he's a tank, right?
On Cybertron he's something.
But he's got like tank treads.
Yeah.
Is he spinning his wheels as he's leaving to throw dust up on Shockwave? How do you do that when you're a tank?
Yeah, I mean, I assumed he was just pulling away quickly. Well, as quickly as a tank can pull away.
He's like, I'm leaving, and he's off in a huff, and he's just going like very slowly.
Because he can't be spinning his treads because I don't think tanks can do that. I might be wrong. I think I've seen a tank drift before, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah. So maybe he could kick up dust.
Also, I've just realized Shockwave was the first Transformer in this to have a weapon that's built in.
Yeah, well, it is his hand.
Yeah. Could add 2 hands. It's early days.
Yep.
And it was his me time hand.
Do you think he's going to get his extra arms, shall we say,
I hope
for his
so.
toy?
I need that. I need that in my life. I need that toy in my life. It needs to come down in price now, please.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you're gonna make them all designed after the toy, then at least incorporate Shockwave's stupid mode.
Incorporate the best thing in the toy line.
Yeah.
Just like, and I need that moment where he fires the guns at his feet and falls flat in his fucking face. Like, I did not think this through.
It was poor planning.
But yeah, so it's a 6 out of 10. It's better than the last one, but it's still the spinning of the wheels has drained a bit of the old enthusiasm.
I would agree with that.
Having spoken to Brian now, like I can see how much he's getting out of this experience, and I think that if he's on this book long enough, it will change.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I don't want this to be a Blade, a Kamen Rider Blade scenario of just watch the terrible 20 episodes and then enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, because it took a long time for that to get good.
Yeah. And I don't think these are terrible, but I just don't want it to be like, oh my god, the last half of this is amazing.
Would you prefer it to be? Because I'd quite happily say it's very bland still.
Yeah,
would you prefer it to be terrible? Because then at least there'd be something to it. Are you more happy that it is bland?
I've never been a guy who can handle like, oh, I'm reading something for the sake of it. Like, at least it's bad. Like, I would rather, because if this was if this was us every month just having a rage about terrible writing, like, I couldn't do it. If Heart of Darkness had been one more issue long, I would have killed everyone in that room. Like, I would have flown to their houses and murdered them. Like, I was really losing my temper. So I would rather have at least on the blander side of bad. This isn't bad. This is just not what I think it can be.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the main show. Hopefully you enjoyed all this. I'd love to hear if anyone is enjoying this comic. Transmission seems not to love it, but they're basically my only feedback right now.
Right.
I will say I've read issue 11 and I like that a lot more than this. So there are positives ahead. But yeah, obviously...
I thought from the last time I heard from you, people were fairly positive on this, and it was only us that wasn't?
No, I have seen negativity spread.
Okay.
But the problem, I stopped looking a lot at a time, to be completely honest.
I mean,
because
that's fair.
it's like either people hate it because it's because automatically, or they love it because automatically.
Yeah.
Or they hate it because it's not what it was before, or they love it because it's not what it was before. Like, there not a lot of conversations goes on really about what this comic is in its own. One of the most interesting things I saw was a comment from one of the dudes over at Cybertron, like after listening to our Moonbase, it was Scotty, I think, listening to the Moonbase 2 interview. Like, they'd like to see him do Beast Wars because he was so enthusiastic about the animal side of things.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see him play in it. I was going to ask him, like, did he have ideas going forward for some of the animal Transformers, but I didn't think we had the time. Because, hey, let's do a Ravage mini.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Why not? But yeah, so we're going to head away for most of you. If you're on Patreon, stick around. We're doing Transformers 84 Issue 0, the once-off 35th anniversary issue that basically tells you what happens in Marvel Transformers before it all. Ooh. Yeah, so if you'd like to leave us feedback, whichever you prefer. You can do it at themoonbase2@gmail.com. You can do it on our Twitter, Moonbase2, on our Facebook, Moonbase2. You can leave us a message on Patreon if you're a supporter. You can make us a message on Libsyn. Always happy to hear opinions and everything. And if you want to send me a message, the address is Irish Paleo on Twitter. Andy.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
Twitter at CCTFW, YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW. You can find this podcast on the Moonbase 2 forums, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, Libsyn, YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast, and like Mikey said, patreon.com/Moonbase2.
And don't forget, if you support Patreon, you'll get an extended show from our comics. You'll also get the Moonbase Woo Woo, and you'll get interviews a week early. So it's worth your time, in my opinion, and it is pretty damn cheap at $2 a month. And I don't see a penny of it. I think Andy's hoarding it.
I am hoarding it for Tooth Fairy money.
I can finally retire and feed the wife and Kiddlywinks.
My secret's out.
But yeah, thanks guys, and we'll talk to you again. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.